Am I the a-hole for calling my aunt classless and outing her biggest secret to my whole family? Original post. I, 25 female, have always been really close to my cousin Dave, 22 male. He had a harder time growing up because his parents had some financial difficulties. He never went to bed hungry, but they didn't have much money for luxuries. My uncle met his wife in a strip club where she was dancing. No one in the family knows this, but she left that work when she got married. They have a business, which Dave works for, that struggled for years but was one of the businesses that became vital during the pandemic. So things really turned around for them and they're making bank. This means that a few months back, my cousin could have an amazing wedding at a 2-month-long worldwide honeymoon. I was really happy for and proud of him. I grew up solidly middle class. Nothing lavish, but we had some things that some would consider luxuries. My parents, however, were not in a position to pay for college for me, which I was chilled about, and I got loans. I have been working for 2 years and I still live with my parents while I pay off the loans. I unfortunately couldn't get my master's because it wasn't financially viable. Last weekend was my birthday party and my cousin showed up without a gift. His wife made a comment, jokingly, about how they can't afford anything after spending X dollars on their wedding. None of this bothered me because gifts are not an expectation, but my dad was visibly upset. He asked him about this and he opened a can of worms. It turned out that I used to have a healthy college fund until my mom secretly lent it to my aunt and uncle to help save their business when I was 15. The agreement was that, as soon as they were able, they would pay it back to my mom. They haven't returned a dime. Well, they have in the last 3 years bought a second house, flown first class overseas twice, and paid for Dave's wedding and honeymoon. Their excuse is that I am done with college and their son works hard, so he deserves it more. My father got so annoyed at my aunt while relaying this to me that he decided to kick them out. While trying to calm him down, I said, "We both know she only thinks about herself and Dave. If she had any class, she wouldn't dress like she's still a stripper." I was so preoccupied I didn't realize that my entire family had quietly walked up with the candles lit ready to sing to me, and they heard everything. My aunt left and has since sent my mom a message that we will never be seeing that money as it is now compensation for her pain and suffering. I didn't mean to out her and be so rude. I was dealing with a lot of emotions and shock over this. I still am. My family doesn't know why we were so angry, so they just think I'm an idiot, and I don't want to tell them the whole story. But I'm not sure if it's excusable either way. So am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole. You acted from emotions. And to be honest, your aunt is an a-hole. Do whatever you can to get that money back. Use the text your aunt sent to sue. People like that are horrid. You can still get a master's if you want to. They stole from you. I low-key think your mom is too, since she lent the money in secret initially and is probably a big reason your dad hasn't pushed for payback. Not stay home and tell the family the whole story so they can understand. And sue. If your dad has any evidence of the loan and her agreement to repay it, I would 1. Pay a lawyer for a 1-hour consultation regarding the likelihood of suing her. The good news is that she has money and assets. 2. Armed with information from the lawyer, your parents should approach your aunt and propose a repayment plan. Emphasize that the loan was an agreement and that they aren't willing to write off such a substantial sum. This conversation is a courtesy notification, not a negotiation. You won't get your aunt's agreement here. If she was a reasonable person, she'd have already paid back the money. 3. I would disregard any noise about your insult. It's a red herring and a chance to divert focus from their theft. 4. Once you assemble evidence of a broken agreement, pick one reasonable, credible member of the extended family and share the situation with them. Ask for their guidance around persuading your aunt to return the stolen money without resorting to a lawsuit. There's a small chance they can help, and a nearly certain chance that they'll take care of the family rumor mill. Not the a-hole. The message sent to mom saying they're not repaying is evidence of the agreement. Back it up now, and in more than one spot. It's not just an evidence of the agreement. It resets the statute of limitations because it's an acknowledgement of the debt. It is potentially vital evidence necessary for you to prevail in court. Now for the edit/update. The money was in a savings account that was going to be used for my college costs. It was in my mom's name and so legally hers. She told my dad when I was applying for colleges, so he's known for some time. I don't know if it affected their relationship and don't plan on asking. Her and my father have done little to get the money back because she's not coping well with stress due to being sick. My aunt was upset because I outed a 25-year-long lie, more so than people knowing her previous work. I have apologized to her for what I said via text and have left it at that. I have yet to hear back from her. I have also confronted my prejudice against sex workers privately. I won't deny I have judged her because of it. It's not something I'm proud of. This blew up at a bad time because my dad had overheard that my aunt is so proud of my cousin for moving out and living on his own at 22. He just boiled over in my behalf. 40 update. My cousin asked me to meet him alone this morning. It turned out he knew nothing about it at all. His mom has been keeping it quiet. He took this week to consult with a lawyer to figure out how much they owe. He has also recently uncovered two things. Firstly, the business has been evading tax, so he is very glad we didn't take legal action. He has started the process to come clean and pay that back. Secondly, she also borrowed money from my grandparents, a decent amount, which she never paid back. They have since passed on, so the lawyer said that amount will form part of the estate and will be owing between the three siblings. My cousin offered to sell his house to pay in full immediately if need be, but as an alternative, he and his lawyer have created a payment plan that would pay for my masters immediately. They will take over my loan repayments immediately. Once it is paid, they will continue paying my mom back monthly until the total is settled. We will obviously be going with a plan where he doesn't lose his home. Despite my cousin and his lawyer seeming fair, they have both advised me to find my own lawyer for my mom's interests, and they have offered to pay for that too. Because of the age of the loan and lack of effort to collect on my mom's side, they could legally contest it, or some of it, but my cousin won't be doing that. My cousin apologized to me profusely and said that he wouldn't ask me to keep the secret from the family but appreciates that I kept it to myself and hopes we can continue that as long as he upholds the agreement we make. My cousin is an amazing human, and we will work with him to try to make the impact of his mother's actions on his life be as little as possible while remaining fair. And the best part of all of this was that he planned on giving me my gift after my party when we were alone because he didn't want to steal my thunder. It was a gift card, and inside the envelope was a sonogram. I am going to be a godmother soon, and I can't wait. Looks like the apple fell far, far from this tree. Cousin has morals and ethics his parents didn't teach him. That takes integrity. Tree was on a hill, and the apple did well to roll away. That's a new one. My husband is nothing like his family, and I constantly tell him he slingshotted himself off the tree. Lol. God, I feel sorry for that cousin. What a freaking bomb to have dropped on your head out of nowhere. Kudos to him to make things right, but still, that sucks. Never ever lend to family or friends with the expectation of payback no matter what they say. If you can't let go of the money in favor of the relationship, don't let go of the money at all. Now for the last story. Am I the a-hole for refusing to speak to my sister because she wouldn't let my daughter be a flower girl at her wedding? She originally was a flower girl. And causing multiple family members to boycott too? Plus updates. Original post. So I, 28 female, have a sister, 26 female, who got married last month. I'm gonna be blunt. My sister has always been one of those people that has to have everything perfect to the point that sometimes it was hard to be around her. But she was my little sister. And I have no other siblings, so I always made excuses when she'd hurt me when I was doing things right in her eyes. So I was kinda nervous when she asked me and my daughter of 4 to be bridesmaids in February because I knew she was gonna be a massive bridezilla. Over the last few months, we have had to practice multiple dances, pay for very expensive dresses, and put up with her tantrums. I told her from the start if she was anyway nasty to my child, I wouldn't stand for it. She assured me that she'd never be nasty towards her favorite person in the whole world. Well, her now husband's little cousin Aid started coming to dance practice with her mom, and my sister started to ask her to do little things, like show my daughter how to throw the petals. I honestly thought she'd make them both flower girls for a while, but when she started to make my daughter sit out and have the little girl do her poem, I knew what was gonna happen, but prayed I was wrong. I invited her out to coffee a few weeks before the wedding and asked her what was going on. She told me she was glad I brought it up, because she was looking for the right time. Apparently, my 4-year-old wasn't doing everything right, and she was afraid she was gonna mess up her version by saying the wrong thing or not doing the dance right on the day. I told her she's doing a pretty good job and everyone was always praising her. Sister giggled and said it is not their day now, is it? So it's not up to us what's good enough for her wedding. I asked her straight up, did she think her niece wasn't good enough to be in her wedding? And she replied with, not as something big as a flower girl, but to attend. I asked her how was I gonna break it to my daughter who's excited about being in the wedding, and she just told me to figure it out. I told her I'd give her a day to rethink her decision. If not, we wouldn't be attending nor speaking to her ever again. Then left. Well, 2 days went by, so I couldn't put it off any longer and broke the news to my child. Even though I tried my hardest and sugar-coated it as much as possible, the news still broke her heart. She cried herself to sleep. So did I and my husband. Well, after a week when I was a no-show for anything, my sister started to panic and started to get everyone to talk to me, even drop off gifts for my daughter. When I told them why, a good number of our family, including bridesmaids, dropped out. We ended up going for a few weeks away with no phones. When we came back, my sister had sent me multiple letters and emails apologizing, while her in-laws and husband have called me an a-hole for doing what I did. Now for the top comments before reading the updates. Not the a-hole. For the people saying OP is the a-hole, consider. OP was expected to bring the child to the celebration after being told she was no longer going to be the flower girl. Yay! She gets to watch another child do the thing she was so excited to do and not make a fuss. Get a babysitter? Great. Watch her parents get fancy and leave to go to a celebration she is no longer a part of. OP's choice to not go to the wedding was correct. Her immediate family is more important than her sister. OP did not tell other people to not go to the wedding. She told them what happened when they asked. Everyone made their own decision. I am sure this was not the only crappy thing the bride was doing. Also, she had to attend multiple classes for the dances, which is a ridiculous amount of time, only to be told she can't be in the wedding. That's even more upsetting to the child, as she may think that she did something wrong to get her kicked out. Also, this girl is 4. This is probably the most upsetting thing that has happened to her in her short life. Agreed. OP did the right thing for her daughter and I applaud the way it was handled. Your daughter may not fully understand right now, but when she gets older, she'll know you have her back. You're a great mama, OP. Not the a-hole at all. Not the a-hole. She can't expect a 4-year-old to try everything perfect, and you can't control what other family does after they hear about Bridezilla. And she's an idiot, because everyone knows that mistakes by little ones is the cutest thing ever and makes the day. And we just figured out the problem. Sister Zilla is worried about having the attention off of herself for 5 minutes if people are watching an adorable child. Now for the updates. My brother-in-law saw this post and told my sister, who cried reading all of your comments. How do I know? Because they showed up at my job knowing I wouldn't want a scene. They begged me to delete the post before people they know see it, and kept apologizing. Finally, my sister said she might be pregnant. I told her even if she is, pregnancy doesn't wash away all the horrible things she's done. And I hope her husband's siblings never treats her child the way she treated mine, because I don't plan to be a part of her life. She busted into tears saying she was sorry and that she loves my daughter. I told her to leave before I called security, and her husband tried to talk to me alone because I was making her so upset and everyone was cold towards them because of me. I told them no. Everyone was cold because Cinderella and Prince Charming forgot that after treating everyone like trash, that no one wanted to be in their happy ever after. They didn't like my mocking tone and raised their voice at me. My boss told them to leave, who knows the situation and has a 5-year-old herself, so she's on my side. My sister-in-law's mother-in-law reached out to my parents, asking for everyone to meet up on neutral terms so we can all work out our differences. I'm gonna go to this dinner party because I want to hear their story and officially tell them to leave me alone. I will update you guys. Important edit. My sister's photographer saw this post and reached out to me on here. She knew my full name and she gave me her Instagram to confirm. This goes deeper than my daughter not dancing right. Apparently, she overheard my sister's mother-in-law and aunt-in-law talking in the bathroom. They used slurs against my daughter and husband. They called me the black man's whore. The photographer said they were both drunk, but brother-in-law also made jokes around my sister earlier in the day, which she smiled at. She also thinks my family members heard it and is the reason they dropped out. So yeah, my daughter wasn't flower girl because unlike me, her aunt or the other flower girl, she doesn't have blue eyes and blonde hair. If you're reading this, Sarah and Frank, screw you and your family. My child is too good to be around trash like you both. Stay the heck away from us. And if anyone in my family knew the real story and didn't tell me, screw you too. Edit 4. Thanks everyone for the love and support, but especially thank you to the photographer who came forward. Thank you so much for bringing this to my attention before I let them back into our lives. You're the real one. Edit 5. So I thought I'd answer a lot of questions that keep getting asked because I'm tired and will be going to bed soon. My parents are fully on my side, so are multiple other family members, the ones that aren't cut off. My daughter doesn't know the full story, but as treats for all of us, we plan to take her to Disneyland for Christmas and my parents have said they will join us. As for my sister, some people have mentioned she might be in an abusive relationship. Well, her husband is from old money, and his family is very well connected in England, which is something she always wanted, so I don't know. But if she is in a bad relationship and afraid, it's up to my husband to forgive her, not me. I found out 3 family members knew, including a bridesmaid that dropped out knew. I've seen a lot of people making fun of the fact me and my husband cried ourselves to sleep the night my daughter found out. We didn't cry about her not being a flower girl, nor did we cry while she was awake. We cried because our child was extremely hurt, and there's no worser feeling than your child thinking they're not good enough for someone they love. For the commenter who was extremely nasty about my husband crying, a father's love is equal to a mother's. Men do and are allowed to have emotions. Do better.